Now, you ready? I'd like to rise and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to our special meeting tonight on May 18th. The purpose of the special meeting was set up to talk about the Municipal Innovation Grant Program with a deadline due on May 19th, which is the reason for the meeting, and we'll go over that in great detail. Before we get started though, I would like to make a special announcement. Having received late-breaking news from the Frost Foundation this evening, that in January we put forth a grant request to the Frost Foundation for a new sidewalk under development on West Market Street, at the end of the sidewalk up to the town park, Master Road Park. And the grant was approved this evening for the full amount of $64,500, and I think it's time to get up and dance. I am so happy that we're doing this. All right. Yeah, so we can, at our next meeting, we add the bids. At the next meeting, we will award the bid, and then we can start the process for construction. They had only one request, is that we put something on the sidewalk to denote the Frost Foundation. So at each end of the Frost Foundation, put a stamp in the sidewalk or something like that, just to say that it was a donation by the Frost Foundation. So this is great news for the village, great news for the town, great news for our kids and our children who have to walk up to the library, go to the pool. It's perfect time to make this happen. So thank you to the Frost Foundation for their generous offer of accepting that grant and awarding it to us. Okay, good. All right, the main purpose of the meeting tonight was to talk about the application process for the county's Municipal Innovation Grant Program. It was a very quick turnaround for this grant program in terms of when it came out, beginning of May, end of April, but really didn't get really started until the beginning of May. And I'm going to read a little excerpt from the county memo. And it reads, as Albany mandates a top-down bureaucratic approach, our municipalities partner to implement new, inventive ways to improve services, lessening the burden of property taxes. In the 2017 Municipal Innovation Grant Program, we'll have three focus areas under which municipalities can apply. The first one was criminal justice and law enforcement. Second was land use, economic development, and the third, general innovation. What they want is these proposals must concentrate on efforts of one of these six categories, which are shared services, consolidation, regional delivery of services, dissolution of a layer of government, or other efficiency improvements, planning and or implementation. The deadline for the application is due on Friday, May 19th at noon. So between the town of Rhinebeck and the village of Rhinebeck, and working with the county, there was a proposal to look at the Rhinebeck town and village court consolidation, and this is a study to be conducted. And the focus was on the criminal justice and law enforcement segment of that portion, and for consolidation of services. And our funding request was for $30,000 to execute this study. A projected annual savings of possibly up to $40,000. And I'd like to read the overview, because the overview is important. Between the town and the village of Rhinebeck, there are 3 elected judges, 1 appointed acting judge, 1 full-time clerk, 2 part-time clerks, 2 offices, 2 courts, 2 computer systems, and 2 record storage spaces. The town has a special prosecutor, which the village does not. We would like a study to look at all aspects of the judicial functions, including, but not restricting to, the following: use of the village and town municipal spaces for offices, storage, and court services, the requirement for timely execution of judicial cases by the state and county, and the ability to provide an effective service to the village and town, effective use of our police and the village, county, and state police for consolidation of services and overtime, consolidation of computer services for district courts for both the village and the town, and duties and responsibilities of the clerks in comparison to other municipalities in the county with the same or similar course loads. Ideally, we are looking for a recommendation on how we could consolidate the 2 courts, the judges, the clerks, the office space, the record storage space, and the court, and how the cost to support a new joint town-village court could be shared by each municipality. We would require the study to enumerate the steps for the consolidation with a proposed timeline, taking into account the election cycles for judges and municipal budget schedules. Participation would be like for the justices, the clerks, the supervisor for the town, the mayor of the village, the board liaisons to the court, and special prosecutor to participate in this study. Currently, the total budget for the town is $94,684, and for the village, it's $89,108 in our budgets, with what would be allotted for this new model. Additionally, as space is at a premium in both the municipalities, even a physical consolidation of space would be a major savings. And we estimate the consolidation of court judges to be 20 to 40% per year. I also want to go over the timeline for this. The timeline is on the next page 5. We would like to sign a timeline, well actually what we're asked to do is sign a timeline with a contract with county by August 31st, 2017. The draft of the RFP and the scope of services by September 30th, 2017. Release the RFP for the study by October 1st. Award a bid by October 31st. Study the courts by January 1st, 2018. The study complete by July 1st of 2018, and a final report due by August 1st of 2018. That is the summary of what we would like to discuss for this evening.
I got a question.
Sure, well, I would like to make a motion first I would like to make a motion that we proceed with the 2017 Municipal Innovation Grant Program, and then we can go into discussion. Second? Second. All right, now this discussion.
Okay, do we have 3 elected judges?
We have Willie, John, and then who do we have?
John is appointed.
Joe, pardon?
John is appointed.
John is
Judge Kane is appointed.
Oh, okay. So we don't have 3, we have 2?
We only have 1.
We have 1.
We have 1, they have 1.
They have 1, which is Willie as well.
Correct.
And then John as the
Appointed.
So that would be a change to that. My correction. So we have 1 elected
On page 2.
And 1 appointed?
and 1 appointed. Yes, my mistake.
That's okay.
Yes. Good question. Yeah, good catch.
There's 1 full-time, I'm just going over this now.
Mhm.
1 full-time clerk is
Here.
Trish here.
Tricia, and they have 2 part-time clerks over there?
In the-
Because I don't know what they have over there, that's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
Right, I don't know.
Okay, I know there's 2 offices, 2 courts, 2 community, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this doesn't change any judicial proceedings. If you're in town, you're...
Does not. We
go to
will still
town court.
maintain a village court, and we still maintain a town court. It's consolidation of the physical spaces, the computer services, and any administration, and a study to look at that.
Okay, so there's no, doesn't blur any of the legal line.
No. No, does not.
Do you recall where we got the $30,000 figure from for the consultant? Did someone look into that?
We did not go out and review any consultants. It was really just an estimate based on the other studies that have been done.
Other similar studies?
For instance, just recently, the town and village of New Paltz consolidated their court systems. They did a fairly similar study, and it was like, I don't know what the exact amount was, but it was perceived that it was around that cost.
Okay.
It's really court services. It's not really this, the courts aren't being consolidated, the court services are being consolidated, yeah.
Right.
But,
We're not getting rid of judges.
Right, think of it, better to think of
It
it that way.
doesn't say that here, though.
Well, it's a shorthand, it's kind of a shorthand.
It depends on what they come up with. I mean, if they come up with savings, then that particular feature where they're gonna save money is gonna be important. The other stuff will wash away. I mean, it's kind of like taking a look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are under no obligation to accept the recommendation.
It's, you know,
But it is a study that will give us information that we could use.
Mhm.
And I think that's, in my point, that's the beneficial part, that gives us data. And then it's up to us to decide. The town, just so you know, the town did pass this, and so the town of Rhinebeck has approved it.
So, I
And
think, oh,
sorry.
no, what you read is not what we have here, because you were kind of looking forward to it,
No.
right?
We had different,
In the activity overview, yeah.
You should, then you don't have the.
but I think you supplemented it with, an email that went-
Yes, you must have the old copy. I don't understand why.
This
Copy I
is-
have.
I think he added,
I don't have that copy.
Oh, it was sent by, okay.
Okay, because here it says how to consolidate our two courts and how the costs of support a new joint town-village court would be shared by each municipality.
that's
So that
what I-
means we're putting everything together, not,
That would mean there would be one physical space. For instance, we could use this courtroom for all
yeah, it's- yeah.
for all judicial meetings.
so this is probably more like what he was reading.
Right, okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem looking
I
at
had
it.
sent this all out to
Oh,
you.
the other issue is we're not spending village revenues on this. Is that the idea?
Correct. This is the application for the grant,
A pure, like 100%?
100% grant to do the
Okay.
study.
And if we can't get a bid under 30,000, do we just walk away? Is that the?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I really don't.
That's fine for me.
Perhaps. I think that would be up to our discretion,
I
right?
think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think it sounds like a good idea to consider consolidating court administration. The proper way to speak about it.
We can reword this and then go back to that.
It's just because when you say it's a joint town-village court, suddenly it sounds like the jurisdictions are being
Yeah, it's not
mixed, and that's I think would be confusing to people. It really is services. It's really the behind-the-scenes services of the courts that are being consolidated, not the function of the judge or the application of the law or anything like that.
Mhm.
It's really the people who support the judges, getting them to be most efficient.
Yeah, because when fines are levied, there's different ways that it's paid to the state between the town and the village. I believe the village gets more of the money than the town does.
They have a special prosecutor that negotiates their fines as well, which we do not. So you're right, there is a difference in terms of execution of fines.
Right.
I don't know the distribution between what the village gets and the state gets, but
I know the village gets more than the town does.
Probably under general municipal law or something.
Yeah, something goes, the state gets more out of the town fines than it does out of the village. If it gets any out of the village, I'm not sure.
but this was not to address the fines.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying if this is consolidating everything into one court, then the village would not be getting as much money as they have been in the past if it goes to be a town court.
But that's not what it is. It's
Consolidation of services.
Right, but again, it doesn't say that here. It doesn't say that. I mean, we're saying it now, but then when,
Let's word it so.
yeah, then when it's done 2 years from now, whatever, we're gonna say, oh, this is not what we wanted done.
Word it.
We've got to
word
go
it.
back to Panda, look on Panda to see what we said. So
Right.
so it's better if it's in writing here.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I'm giving you my draft proposal.
Okay.
I mean, I think this is kind of the, when people talk about court consolidation, this is the shorthand that they use. But because there's potential for people to be confused about it, I think we ought to try to be a little more precise in our language.
We just have to do it today so we can get it in by noon tomorrow.
Okay.
So let's make your changes right now.
How would you like it to be read?
I would
You
just,
might have to
I don't know
look
what
at
this
his.
says, yeah.
You might have to look at his.
I
Or,
would,
Gary, why don't you make changes you think would be appropriate and see if that's acceptable to Howie?
All right,
I would change, I could do it in one word, in the third paragraph.
in the third paragraph.
Ideally, we're looking for recommendation of how we could consolidate consolidate administration of our two courts.
Instead of the two words.
Instead of two courts, the administration of. I think that takes care of it.
Okay, and keep the judges, clerks, office space, record storage space, and court, all in front.
Yeah, those are all the
Right.
things that support the courts.
And how the cost to support a new joint town-village court would be shared by each municipality.
Right, so it would be.
New Town Village Court
Administration.
Administration.
You didn't say that,
Or you could say may be supported by,
right?
just put a
Because we would still be paying our judges, they'd still be paying their judges. It's a question of how we pay for support personnel.
You could say that it may be paid by,
Okay. So ideally, we are looking for a recommendation on how we could consolidate our administration of the two courts, the judges, the clerks, the office space, record storage space, and court, and how the cost to support the new town-village court administration may be shared by each municipality. Is that what you like?
Sounds good.
Right?
Now, does this mean we have to bounce it back to the town, or are we?
Yeah, so I gotta bounce this back to them, and they'll have to accept it.
Okay. I
we
mean,
still gotta get this thing in tomorrow, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The deadline's noon tomorrow.
I mean, I guess the one thing I can say is that you can't, I mean, if you were talking about the language to merge the jurisdictions, that would be a really complicated set of.
No, that's.
Right, I'm saying, no,
It's
it's
not
not.
territorial, so that's just,
And
yeah.
it's all fact.
Right,
Um,
what I'm saying is, if we could just leave this, if it's too much of a hassle, we can leave this alone, a little bit unclear, but effectively, it's all about administration. It's not about any sort of municipal merging of
And per legal, we
responsibility.
can't even do it until the term of election is done, correct? And so, from our legal consultants, we cannot eliminate a judge position and collapse them into one since they're an elected official.
Okay.
And Judge Sanchez just being elected for a 4-year term, we could not do that, make that happen.
Who is the lead agency? The town?
The town. Town is legal, yes.
So you think you'd have a problem getting them to approve this by tomorrow?
Oh, don't know, I'll find out.
I don't know
I don't
if
think
it
so.
totally has to dovetail, I mean, they're not bound by this agreement, we're not bound, but it's pretty much oodles of overlapping things in it. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, they've already approved the concept, so we're just making some minor word changes and go from there.
I mean, the only reason I got into it was just because the wording of it was unclear and easy to be misunderstood. That was the only reason why I brought it up, so it doesn't really change the meat of what's going on here.
Right.
It's just that, because when people start to hear
Clarify.
the word consolidation, and they can get very confused about what that means. If you put the word administration after it, then people understand.
Very clear. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll amend my motion. I'll amend the motion to say that we approve the Municipal Innovation Grant Program for the consolidation of the courts with the changes that we documented tonight. And to go back and I will review it, to be reviewed by the town and submitted by noon tomorrow on May 19th.
Sounds good.
Need a second?
Second?
Howie, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried.
All right.
Okay.
This is a good thing. I mean, this is how we're going to try to
Yeah.
save people money over time.
We're being asked in a lot of ways to look at a lot of a lot of ways to save money at all levels. So there'll be more to come. There was more meetings today about shared services and and so forth. That's being mandated now by the state. So we're on a tight deadline also to start looking at other options to be completed this summer. And that's state to county to us. So there was a meeting today of all mayors and supervisors for the county to start addressing this. And there'll be several meetings to follow until we come up with a recommendation. This could be one of those options that we submit. And so dovetailing along with it so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel again. And so the whole purpose is that we could use this as part of that.
I mean, basically, Albany has set up this very complicated mechanism whereby counties have to force their, all the municipalities within the counties and potentially the school districts and the fire districts, not the fire districts.
Not fire
districts, right.
yes.
And to come up with ideas and basically shared services consolidation plans. And it carries some money and it carries some penalties, but basically it's a big top-down finger on the, you know, thumb on everybody's, or push on everybody to see if they can get something done. It's a very ambitious, very complicated undertaking that seems to be hastily thrown together.
I can read from you some notes from today, a little bit about this. It's the countywide shared services. It's called the Countywide Shared Services Initiative. The kickoff meeting was today. There's going to be a follow-up meeting on June 1st and then another meeting on June 19th. Where there will be sessions in terms of everybody has to submit 1 or 2 ideas back to the county to be approved. August 1st, we have to have an initial plan. There'll be hearings conducted by the county, public hearings conducted by the county after that. By September 1st, we have to have a plan recommendation. So it's another very short cycle. The categories in that countywide shared services are IT, which are computer services again, procurement, insurance, education, and general administration. So,
and when all said and
insurance. And the last one was schools. But schools, even though they're the majority of our taxes, they get to vote whether they opt in or not. We are mandated to be in, schools can vote to be in.
You think they're going to vote to be in?
And fire companies are excluded, as Rick said. So that's what's.
So where are we at on unfunded mandates? Or this is just a one-way? This is a one-way street.
Still a one-way street. Yeah.
Here's the best part. Here's the best part. After it's all said and done, if we want to opt out, we can just opt out. And then we do all of that.
But then we do it again next year. If we opt out of this program, we end up doing it again.
And if we write an apology letter to the government.
Yeah. So the program is officially called as yet another mandate. Is the official name of the program.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So that's a fact.
So this could be under the general. What was one of those categories? General administration. The courts.
Yes.
The courts.
Okay.
Yes, it could fit into several categories, but IT, procurement, insurance, but even this one, we're not going to complete until August 1st of 2018. So I don't want anybody to think that this is a done deal and we're going to have an answer in a month. The one we voted on tonight is to August 1st of 2018 until we get a report. So there's
So we have to actually do these things before September, you say?
the other one is to submit our study by September.
Right.
Which will then also have a timescale to execute the study and get it in. We don't have to implement by September, no. The next round of yet another mandate program is to have something ready to submit by September.
Okay.
We could be partially there with this.
I think the pressure is more on the county executive.
And we could also be partially there with the study that we're doing for the shared highways, if that goes through. So those two things would fit into this program, which would be helpful. And I mentioned to Pat, it can even be as simple as we already share our fuel services with the town. using their facilities, but we never formalized that agreement. We verbally have a verbal agreement, and they buy their gas from the county, we fuel up at the town garage, and then pay them back, but we never formalize it. Formalizing that agreement could be part of the next program.
Right, and we get materials from them too, right?
We get the salt?
Yes.
Yes,
So that's all.
yeah.
We need to, that's something we would need to formalize and get it into the program. I'm just giving suggestions.
What about the police and the fire? Does that count too?
Fire doesn't count, fire is
Okay.
excluded.
The
They use
police-
like 25 hours a week of police.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we share the
Formalize
police.
it.
We have a contract.
We do have a contract on that.
We have a contract, and so anything you already have implemented with an agreement doesn't count,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Good idea, good suggestion.
What about
trying
the,
to grab the low-hanging fruit, as you would say, Rick.
Yes.
Assessor.
Well, I think this study does it, the court study does it for us, I think.
Yeah.
well, we also use the town for our registrar of vital records
And the assessor.
and the assessor.
Well, the assessment's been going on, we talked about that today. That one, I don't think, I'm not sure, but that one was, we brought up today at the meeting. The assessment. No. All right, so this is,
Okay.
we're good with that. All right,
Okay.
other business?
I actually have a bunch of new business, so, but it's all pretty quick and easy. I handed out to everybody something titled Exhibit A, Scope of Services, and I'll put my notes here. Basically, the situation is that the county, let me start backward a little bit. About 2 years ago, I guess, there was the initiative to get a grant from Dutchess County to study how the village and the town highway department can work together. And it's been kicked around for a while. But we have a deadline that's fast approaching, and I'd like to get this study underway. It's a $45,000 grant, and that number is actually based upon a number that a consultant had given in for, like, what would I charge you, several years ago. So there's a little bit of hopefully truth to that number. But basically, because of the county deadlines, we're right up against it with our June meeting. So what we're trying to do is front load the process a little bit. The county is actually going to write the contract, because technically so if we can agree upon the scope of services, we can tell the county to go ahead, write the contract, so that we can look at the contract in June, and we can decide whether we want to go forward or not. And then if we go forward, then they can actually put it out to let the next day. And that would get us all on the deadlines. So basically, we're just trying to line up all the dominoes so they can fall really quickly. And so I wanted to bring this to you. This is what the purpose, really, the scope of services, the purpose of this study would be. And basically, we've already started working on developing an IMA, and it's gone back and forth, and that's going to go to both of the attorneys that have sort of gone through one round of attorney feedback. Basically, with the county, we develop, and there'll be an RFP, but a lot of this comes down from the county, hire a consultant, and then basically that person will be asked, or those persons would be asked to take a really hard look at both the functioning and the equipment and the properties of both the village department and the highway department, and figure out how to, if it's possible, to meld or bring them together to some degree and have them save money for both the town and the village. Now, I can say that there has been an assessment like this done, I believe, in Red Hook and Tivoli. And after all was said and done, it turned out that because their departments, the way they work, there was no point in having any form of consolidation. So it's unknown here what the recommendations would do. So basically, what I'm asking for here is just, you guys wouldn't need a resolution or a motion, I don't think. Just take a look at this scope of activities. If you're okay with it, I'm going to get back to the folks at the county, say, we're okay with the scope, start writing the contract so we can have it for the next board meeting. So basically, kind of pre-clear this with you.
So what we really need to do is just agree that we need to agree with the scope of services probably tonight
Yeah,
to get this back and turned around.
right.
Because I think we're under a deadline by June, our next June meeting to
Basically, it's like the 15th, it's the
To have
day
something.
after. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why it's all lined up.
So, to summary, say, what I understand is we need to, by our next board meeting, have the IMA approved?
No,
Vote on it, we need to vote on the IMA,
Vote on the IMA and then vote on the contract.
vote on the contract, by the county
The
contract.
county contract. And then, once that's approved, then the county on their sites will put out the bid, the RFP, the request for services on their site. And then we'll go from there.
Okay, but we need to do that by our next board
We need to
meeting.
do that by our next board meeting, and that's why I'm bringing this to you. Otherwise, a more normal process would have been to do this, do the contract and the IMA, and then do another meeting, maybe 2-3 months from now, it's almost done, and we're trying to get it done now. And again, it's for a study, and it's with the county's money. So,
Well, I looked it over, I agree, looks pretty good.
But I have a question about, we're looking at properties, does property include the condition of our roads today? Is that part of the study?
as far as I know, I don't think so. I think what they're talking about at the properties is where the actual buildings,
Oh,
and
okay.
places where they are, not,
Not the roads?
they're not the roads. That's just why, from the discussion that we had, I didn't ask. It's a,
Because I think this is along the same lines as the previous. We're talking about consolidation of services, not, but we still maintain village roads, we still maintain town roads. We each have our own identity and our own, we don't lose anything. as we
right,
go.
no, we shouldn't be losing anything, and hopefully what we're gaining is the ability to share stuff back and forth more effectively, and
So if it came down to, for instance, buying a new truck,
I want to be consultant. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just asking.
I don't know, but they might say, look, if you guys have 7 trucks between the two of you, maybe if you guys work a little more closely together, you can.
or maybe a
get
better
5 or 6.
example would be a backhoe or something
Right.
that doesn't
Exactly.
use as much. Could we
Right.
share, we could maybe share the use of a backhoe and not have to buy a
Right.
backhoe.
And it may be more involved than that.
Right.
Like, so, but we'll see. Again, this is what, this is what they would be taking a look at.
Okay.
I think. But pretty much I think what they're saying is all aspects of the operations and the equipment and the facilities that we have and the town has. And the town's very much in favor of this. And again, the county's really pushing it too. That's why they're, with two lovely ladies, and that's why they're really trying to help us get this thing right and done and make it to, and on the way.
Can we get a draft of the IMA before the meeting so I can look it over?
Yes. There's,
Because I don't want to just look at it fresh like the day before.
Right.
Because if we have changes, then we're going to have,
right. The IMA, I've seen the draft. I mean, basically it says, we agree to cooperate. And that's really about as far as it goes. And then there's some other language about it. But yes, I've already seen a draft of it, and it's been cleaned up once by, I think, their legal side. But yes, I will do everything I can to get all of this stuff to you before the meeting, so you have a chance to digest it, read it, get all that stuff going. You should have at least one day, because it's got to go to the town meeting, which is the day before ours. They're under the same deadline, so they'll have it. We should be able to get it.
Okay. All right, I'm okay with this.
Okay.
yeah, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you. So I just wanted to talk about that.
Do I need a motion?
I don't think so. I don't think you need a
Scope of
motion.
services.
Yeah, this is just a discussion of what we want to see in there. On another topic, we are getting ready to do the repaving of Astor and Montgomery. And one of the issues that's been brought up is that the corner of the intersection of Astor and Montgomery on the Route 9 side is a non-standard curvature. And basically what happens is as people are coming up Astor to make a left on Montgomery, the way the road is curved, people can scooch behind and kind of make a right with or without stopping behind the car waiting to make a left. And there's also now a crosswalk there at that intersection as well. So this was, I would say, was started by Gina, I should say as well. So what we're looking at doing is basically getting that corner rounded into a standard corner, which is like, it's got a 25-foot radius. So the corner would get pushed out. It would stop people from scooching underneath the car, making it left. It would make the intersection a bit safer. So we also decided, or Gina, credit Gina for this, she also got the hospital involved. They have Stat Construction over there right now working for them, and she got the hospital to pick up some of the cost of this project. Not as much as they would have liked, but some. So I have here, and this may require a motion, and this literally just came in today. I have. Actually, we don't have to approve this today. I'll get something up. So Stat sent us back a bid. It would be for a total of $16,600, of which the materials section was $2,480, and that would be what the hospital picks up, leaving us with $14,120 to get this, to get the curb put out to the new spot, and the sidewalk and laid to connect, connect everything up, and then have the crosswalk rehabilitated where the crosswalk goes. I'd spoken with John Fenton, and apparently a year or so ago, he, Karen, and Heath had worked out where the money for this was going to come from. I emailed Karen today, but I haven't heard from her about it. So apparently, I think there is money earmarked for this currently. And that's mostly it. The one thing I do want to say is that if we can get the work done before July 1st, that's when the prevailing wage rates go up in New York. And so if we can get it done before July 1st, well, if I put it this way, if we do it after July 1st, the price goes up by $945 because the prevailing wage goes up.
Isn't this part of the whole repaving we're doing
Well,
from Astor to, aren't we like doing this for?
Yes, well, yeah, no,
No reason.
it fits into a greater scheme.
Right.
But it's not technically part of the, that project's going to be let and put out all on its own.
This is like in the middle of the whole project.
Well, this is hopefully going to happen before, the timeline is get this done. And then whatever milling of the roads and the laying down of materials, and that will be done after. That's not going to happen, it seems like late July, early, if everything goes right, late July, early August. Hopefully this will be done a long time before that.
So this is to form the curbing?
Yeah, it's basically to cut out the part of the street where it is, put the curb out so it's the proper radius, and then build concrete and paved sidewalks. When you're coming up Astor on the sidewalk, there's the two posts there, and then the sidewalk kind of spills out. Basically, they would lay out sidewalks so you could either make a left and continue down Montgomery, or you could make a quick right and cross the street. So basically, it's for the curbing and the sidewalk. To do that, we'd have to do the landscaping when they're done, and then the paving project begins, milling whatever we're going to mill and doing it from there. So, and the other issue that we have there is that because we've been piling up the asphalt over the years, there's been a water problem with water ponding in that area, and sort of as a stopgap measure, our highway department did some milling right along the curb line there, just to get the water running down Astor where it's supposed to go. So it's left very rough pavement, and we need to do something about it. It needs to be a real solution needs to be done, not a temporary fix. So,
Do we think it's possible to get this done in time?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think,
That's important.
Yes.
We can't proceed
yes,
without
no,
this.
well, we had a site meeting, I had a site meeting with John, representative of Stats and a representative from the hospital, and we gave her the full layout of what's going on, and she seemed to have, yeah, we'll knock this thing right out. It's basically her.
You only, at that price level, we're supposed to get 2 other bids.
Well, I
Of
think,
a thing like that.
I guess, I was thinking about that, I was reading some of the stuff over, because the only way we're gonna get the hospital to kick in,
That was my next question.
yeah, because they're doing this because Stats is on the site, and they're taking materials and stuff from them.
Well,
So,
how much is the total project?
they're saying
And
$16,600.
how much is Stat putting in?
I mean, how much is the hospital putting in?
Or the hospital, yeah.
$2,080.
Oh,
So,
okay. I
yeah.
was gonna say if they were doing,
25%, then it'd be a no-brainer, but it's pretty
Yeah.
All
close.
right, well, maybe,
Can you get 2 quick bids, or, or did you
I
want?
can talk to John, or maybe I can say, if we want to get this done, I'll go to the hospital and say, hey, you need to pick up 25%. Can you add another, it's actually what, another $2,000? Another $2,000, and then we can do it real quick. So, it's worth an ask, right?
Right.
Okay. So I think I will certainly have something, we'll have this all finalized by the 14th. But again, I just want to alert you guys to what's going on.
Well, you could get 2 other bids if you've got.
If we need to.
Yeah, I thought you needed to vote before then, but,
I think we're okay.
okay.
I think we did. All right, another thing. There's this scrap aluminum that's been sitting down by the highway department, and we had some bids. So basically, I called the company that makes the thing out in Washington, and I said, hey, what do these units weigh? So they got back to me, and altogether, all that scrap weighs, and again, this is approximately about 625 pounds of material, according to their specs. I checked out what the prices for that kind of aluminum are, and it turns out they're from about 45 cents to 55 cents a pound. And I believe we received a bid for $300?
$335.
$335, okay, that's great. So at 45 cents a pound, the value would be $281. So it's a big meet it. At the high value, however, the value would be $343. So our bid falls somewhere in the middle of the current price of scrap aluminum.
Plus you have to haul it.
Plus you have to haul it.
Yeah,
I
so
mean-
it's a no, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say, go ahead, it's in the ballpark. I mean, it's not worth.
We already said not to haul it because of the cost to get it weighed. I mean, just
Right.
getting it weighed, we said
Right.
would add more money than what the.
yeah, if we took it for scrap for ourselves, it would,
Right.
we'd
break
get
even.
we'd get
You
maybe
might be in the
50
hall.
bucks.
Right.
We have a net of this.
Right, so if we,
And I think.
what was the high bid again?
335.
35.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Let them take it and then,
So I move to accept that bid for the scrap aluminum done by the highway department.
That's Paul.
Second.
Paul Matthews?
Paul Matthews, yeah, Paul Matthews. Who I request submits his bid in type next time.
Yeah, good luck.
Forget about it.
and then they'll have to hire a
There's
secretary.
going to be some stipulation that the.
Bid price will go down.
Right, well, I was saying, it has to come in legible, that's my only,
I could read it.
well, apparently you can read that. So I move that we go ahead and accept that and have them.
Gary seconded.
I second it, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Carried.
Okay.
Very
I'll
good.
notify him tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that's it.
Any other business?
Yeah, I just want to report that, thanks to Brant, he mentioned that we had this study done. This was done in May of 2013 on the wastewater plant by Bernier and Larios. And this does confirm the fact that the Rhinebeck wastewater treatment facility has a design capacity of 260,000 gallons per day. So that was their study, it's here in writing. And according to this, I want to double check this though. It says, with all the projects that we have planned, and I want to double check to see which one.
Which, my memory was that was the finishing out the gardens, the 7-lot subdivision on Locust, and the condominiums, which are now the spa.
And Rhinebeck Commons, yeah.
Is that the 7-lot
I think
subdivision?
that's the one next to yeah, next to the Village Green, right?
So I don't know what's happened in the last 3 years. But
I don't think anything else has happened besides all these.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't even done yet, but.
So it should be pretty.
So it says 243,640, so with that,
Does it have phase 3 of the gardens?
yeah, phase 2 and 3. According to this one, it leaves us with a capacity of 16,360 gallons of excess capacity, or 6% of the design flow, when all the projects are completed.
This is the previous one, not the current one that Crawford did, correct?
Yeah, this is the one that was done for
This was the one.
4 years ago.
Yeah, but this was
Yeah.
done, this gives us our total, which Crawford really didn't study that part of it. They were just going based on what we were telling, I believe.
No, I think they did. My impression is they
Yeah.
were giving,
Well,
they were gonna give us what the capacity of the plant was as part of their recent study.
Okay,
That
so-
was one of the things we insisted that they document.
Oh, yeah.
So,
What are you considering for hooking up or expansion? Are you considering evaluating an expansion?
well, let's just, what if another project were to come into
Oh.
town? And we need to understand what our capacity is, you know, at the wastewater treatment plant, to be able to put an additional building on. Or someday, what if we do add another street or another segment? We have to know
Pretty
that.
close to maximum then, right?
Yeah, right now, with all these planned projects.
Right.
So.
Well, if someone comes along, a big user comes along, then we ask them to do to fund another report like that.
Right, right.
And in addition to.
Oh, yeah.
Extension.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what happened with the, when the gardens came in.
The gardens paid for the expansion.
Right.
Yeah.
The gardens relieved us of $1 million bond.
2000, the village doubled the capacity of the wastewater from 130,000 gallons to 260,000 gallons. And this action allowed the Gardens Conjo project in the town to become a reality. Now the Gardens is paying that part of the expansion.
Yeah, when it went defunct, then
Yeah. Then
we
had-
were on the hook, the users were on the hook for
Right.
it, and then they came back in, assumed that with the remaining debt, all of it.
But we still have the current study that Crawford's doing.
Right, we still have that, but Brant pointed this out to me, saying that this was done a couple of years ago.
Right.
Crawford's doing a more intensive study
Yes.
of inventory and equipment.
And are you ready, you were looking at, are we gonna complete that to the full amount, or are we gonna stop?
No, we're
it?
gonna stop it. Pete suggests we stop it because he knows everything, the last 4 points they were gonna do.
All right,
And we're
so,
gonna get a report from,
so you've already made that, this is the recommendation that you're making, and we're gonna stop, we're gonna.
yeah, I'll make the recommendation that we stop the Crawford study that was going on, which was started about 2 years ago. In
2015, it was actually started.
2015, yeah, right. And there was a little confusion there because there was a different wastewater operator there, and there was a different liaison, a couple different liaisons since then. And it just came back up now that the study was kind of completed. It was about 75% completed. So they're looking for the payment for that, Crawford is. So we recommend that we stop the study now and get the reports from them.
Do we need to vote on that, or we can terminate that contract? Because it's an open contract.
Right.
We're changing the scope.
Right, but they changed the price too, so.
Correct, I know.
We can, I mean,
I agree.
when push comes to shove.
I know.
I mean, if they want to do the rest of the study for the original price,
Right.
okay. But basically, that's what,
Well, why don't we make a recommendation, Howie, you know, because,
We could just have an informal resolution.
yes.
I mean, a verbal.
Like buffer, stop what you're doing, deliver what you have. And
and it was their question too. They wanted to ask us if they wanted us to continue.
Correct. And that's where I asked you to come up and tell us what you want to do.
Right,
So
well,
your
based on Pete
recommendation-
Rathman's recommendation to stop the study now.
Okay.
Because we know everything that
And
they,
cap it at the current price.
Yes.
And not pay for the additional.
right. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Pat has the exhibits for that study too.
For this one?
It's like this thick, yeah, the exhibits with
Oh, yeah.
this thick.
Wow,
Great, so we can close that one out.
yes.
Thank you.
I'll
Okay,
let them know.
perfect.
You're going to let them know? Is that what
Oh, well,
you
you can let them know if you want.
said? All right, there would be a letter, but, okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
You'll get it done quicker than I will.
Okay. Any other business? Going once, going twice? I'd like to then make a motion to go into executive session to discuss, for the purpose of discussing our replacement for the chief water plant operator.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, executive session. All right, I'd like to make a motion to close the executive session.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Carried, okay. Now we're back into the general session. As a result of the review of the executive session, Grant would like to make a...
Yeah, I would like to propose that we extend a job offer to Brian Alex to get promoted to be the chief water operator at the plant. He's been there for 4 or 5 years and is eminently qualified to run the plant. And Tom Wellbank has taken a job elsewhere and left and is departing next week. So it would be to replace the, and he's done a tremendous job, Tom has, but it'd be a job to replace the chief water operator at the plant. And payment would be pursuant to the union contract.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carried. Thank you. Danielle?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second? No. Did you want a second?
Second, got it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're done. Thank you.
So-
Good night.
Good night.